We are tracking new developments in an NIL case brought by 18 Nebraska football players. The outcome could change the role money plays in college sports nationwide. According to The Athletic, an independent arbiter is hearing arguments today from the players' attorneys and the attorneys representing the College Sports Commission, or CSC. That's the organization in charge of approving third-party name, image, and likeness deals. The Husker players are looking to reverse a CSC decision to reject deals with a combined value of more than $1 million. Basically, the CSC flagged a violation called warehousing. That's where a third-party entity pays players up front for future services, which regulators think might be a means of circumventing compensation limits. But as the players see it, those deals are legitimate. They're not a loophole. The outcome of the case could serve as a roadmap for future cases, setting boundaries for how and when players can cash in on these NIL deals. Ross Dellinger with Yahoo Sports reports that per arbitration terms, a ruling on this matter is required sometime within the next 5 days.